Welcome to Meet the Candidate. I'm Bianca Newborn, freelance journalist and contributing correspondent to the Daily Reflector and the Standard newspapers. And today I am with Pamela Lockamy. She is a candidate for Ward 5 in the town of Ayden, running for Board of Commissioner. Pamela, welcome.
Thank you.
Pam, tell me about yourself.
So I am Ayden local. Not your typical local. My family has been there for generations. So I grew up in Ayden, mostly weekends and summers. A few years lived there with grandparents, but I mostly grew up in Greenville. So kind of a in-between kid. Mom moved to Greenville. So I grew up not far from here. Walking to South Greenville for elementary school, and then CMFs. Started at Rose and then moved to Ayden and started at, I actually got to choose back then on Ayden Golf Club Road, more towards Stick Valley. You got to choose which school. So I chose D.H. Conley because I didn't know, I was 14, So I went to D.H. Conley High School. So grew up, a lot in Ayden with my grandfather. Going to McCurry's Hardware, eating at Bum's, it just feels like home. So when I bought my house about 4.5 years ago, I knew I wanted to go home. I was, tired of big city Greenville. So I bought my house in Ayden, in town. I live on Park Avenue. I absolutely love it, have enjoyed every minute of it. I am a mom. But my daughter she's 23 now. I'm soon to be a grandma.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. So she left. She went to college. So I found myself with, not a lot to do. I've been in finance for a little over a decade. So working my, 8:30 to 5:30 in Greenville and coming home and found myself, idle hands, as Grandma said. You got to find something to do. So started volunteering. I joined the Collar Festival Board first, and then a call came out for helping with planting flowers in downtown planters, so started doing that. And just, growing up, I grew up with single mom, with 3 kids, with low income housing. And I had so much given to me as a child, whether it was neighbors, grandparents, churches, schools, and I thought to myself, I need to give back.
Mm-hmm.
I need to find my purpose. So I started doing that in Ayden. I was like, let me give back to the people that, helped raise someone that I looked up to, which was my grandparents. And so that's what I've been doing the last 4 years, working and giving back. I am opening the local garden center. We should be opening in about a month. I've been working all year on it with Coltrane Hardware, so we're opening the garden center. Most people know me from the garden club and community garden. It is something I'm really, really passionate about, my plants. Gardening is something I'm really passionate about. I used to garden with my grandfather a lot, and I'm also very passionate about cooking. Anyone who knows me well will tell you that my love language is cooking. I love to cook for people. I love to feed people. So that's me, really.
Awesome. Why are you interested in being a town commissioner?
So I love Ayden deeply. And I want to see us grow in a way that honors our roots, but it also, moves forward and with a purpose. So to me, being a commissioner, running for commissioner, is giving back to the community. And, the community's given so much to me, I feel like I need to give back to them. And I want to make sure that decisions that are happening are transparent, because I have felt like things weren't transparent to me. Mm-hmm. Making sure that it's thoughtful in the best interest of all of Ayden. I know there's been certain groups in Ayden that have felt that they were left behind and that they weren't thought about. And I want to make sure that those people are heard.
Well, what are some of your strengths?
So I am a doer and a connector. And as most people know, I'm not scared to get my hands dirty. I will get in and put in the literal labor. I'm not going to be, the person that shows up to a meeting. I'm a researcher. You can ask former bosses. It is a skill that I love. I love to research and figure things out. I love to listen. I love to talk, but I also love to listen and figure out how things can be more efficient. Make processes more efficient, things like that. And I feel like those strengths are something that's needed with our town right now.
Pamela, can you describe a time where you faced a challenging situation?
Yeah. So one challenge I have faced recently is helping organize town events. So we've had tight budget seasons recently. So fewer resources, and instead of cutting corners, we've learned to work together with the groups that I've worked with on working with local businesses, securing sponsorships, donations, even just labor. We've had some businesses that don't have the money, but we can give you the labor, we can give you the hands. And at first it can seem daunting, and it was a little overwhelming, and to the whole group of volunteers. But when you put your heads together, and really communicate, we can make big things happen, even when the resources are limited.
Pamela, tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult colleague.
Yeah, so I've had situations where people have, I'll be more general, different communication styles or even different visions. Mm-hmm. So instead of letting that create conflict, you want to focus on listening first, mm-hmm. And then understanding everyone's goals and finding common ground. That's the best way to solve anything and to get together with anyone. Most of the time people just want to feel heard. And I think that's the key to working together effectively. So I've dealt with there's been different situations like that, and it's always best to just listen.
Will you describe a time where you had to prioritize multiple tasks?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
For the college festival?
Yes, it is a lot. So I'm treasurer and parade coordinator. So I'm dealing with, making all the bills, making sure everyone's paid, what deposits were paid. I've got to finish paying them. I've got to, put out all these little fires. I've got a regular job to do. I have other volunteer commitments. Today we're doing this. After this I have chamber and Christmas Town. We are already planning Christmas Town. So just finished sponsorship package. While I'm working on Collar Festival, sponsorship packages for Christmas Town mm-hmm. have been made. So getting them to the group so that we can get out and try to get sponsors for that. Organization is my biggest thing, making sure I'm organized. So whether or not it is, my phone, you will see me with my phone. But it is because everything has to be organized and in its place. In order to be able to be effective in the job that I'm doing, whether it is work or my volunteer or anything for the town of Ayden. Yeah.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment would be my daughter in life.
Aww.
It would be my baby. She's 23, and like I said, she's about to give me a grandbaby. She's smart as a whip, 2 degrees. She went to early college. She went to Ayden Middle, which we loved. We were in Greenville. Like I said, I've spent 20 years in Greenville, and she went to Pactolus. For middle school, I took her to Ayden Middle. Wanted her to have that. Ayden schools are great. So took her to Ayden Middle, and then she went to early college high school. She really thrived in Ayden schools. So a lot of my support is with Ayden schools. But I'm not able to, that's not one thing I'm able to do. So I have a lot of friends that do with Ayden PTA. I don't have a kid in school anymore. But I do pride myself in being a mother. But for the town, one of my proudest things is the community garden. And if you've seen the community garden, we have had our ups and downs. And it was, I'm super proud of us getting it built, getting it put together, getting the funding, going out there, day after day, working to build it. After we got it built, first year was amazing. It was beautiful, lots of produce. Second year, we had flooding issues. We had some heat issues. This year, we've had a little bit of heat issues. But last year, our volunteering kind of dropped off. Our core group kind of dropped off, and there were about 4 or 5 of us really putting time into it. This year, we have built it back up.
Oh, great.
Yes, we have had a couple of people, a handful of people actually, just reach out to us to join and say, hey, we want to help. So that has been amazing and super proud. I've been able to kind of back off and let them kind of do more of the work. So I'm super proud to see that more citizens are out there and helping us, because our goal is to ensure that we, everyone in the town is able to go there and get produce. There's some food insecurities, Ayden has, I won't say food desert. We've got 2 grocery stores, but we have some people, that could use some help. And if they can go pick some tomatoes and some bell peppers, if it saves them a couple dollars, then we've saved someone a couple dollars.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
What do you see as the most pressing needs for infrastructure and capital projects in Ayden?
I love this one. So I think we need to invest in updating, and I'm not delusional and to think this is all going to happen at once. It's going to take years' progress to do this, and to do it right. I have, spoke with many citizens and heard, a lot of things have been done fast and quick and maybe not done right. So I think roads are big, and then our sewer systems are big. And I think a lot of people don't understand that the U.S. in general has failing sewer systems everywhere. And
they're old.
They're old. They've had their lifespan. And I have, looking over even in the last 5-6 years, we've done a lot of updates. We've gotten grants to do some updates. So I don't want to say that Ayden's done nothing, because that's not true. They have been trying, but there's a lot more to do. And I think we need to be focused on that, and stormwater. Stormwater is a huge thing. And we need to support current residents and future growth. So we need to be mindful of that. And last, we need to focus on revitalizing our downtown and making Ayden a destination that attracts visitors and new businesses, because that's going to bring better tax base so that we have those monies to work on the roads. Because the government, how we get road tax from the government, we only get a small stipend. I believe Stephen Smith put it, it's enough to do like repave a quarter mile a year is what we get from state or federal. So, and then we have our general monies that come in and supplement. So, trying to figure out how do we get funding for that as well. It needs to be done.
Should the board be encouraging development and encouraging building? What do you think?
Yes, but responsibly. Growth's important, but it's got to be smart growth. Development that aligns with our town's character and supports the small businesses and maintains the charm of Ayden. And what I mean by that is, while we just did like 600 houses right outside of Ayden that are being annexed in. I don't think they're all built, but I understand the need for growth, but I think that it was too much, too fast. I think that some of the residents out there will tell you they're already having flooding issues. So I don't think that the research done on that was done well. I also wanted to bring up, so I'm with the Main Street nonprofit for Ayden Downtown Inc. With the Main Street program, and we've been researching We want to revitalize the historic district. 20% of the historic district is vacant. Whether that's land or buildings, it's vacant. We need to be, encouraging and incentivizing people to build on that land, or revitalize those buildings and get businesses in there, or homes, revitalizing the home, repairing the homes. There's so much opportunity out there, and I know a lot of people hear that there's no money and it's not there, and I understand there's been some freezes here and there with some grant money. I get that, but it's not impossible. It's we have to incentivize people to move to Ayden. We have to figure out how to do that without hurting those that are here, of course. And I think this growth of all of these new neighborhoods, while it's helpful, it's going to take a while to recoup all of the money we've put to extend that sewer and that water and that electricity, millions of dollars. It's going to take a long time for that tax to be recouped. And, we could, be encouraging people to build a home right in Ayden, right in town. And yeah.
What one part of town would receive more attention from you if you were to be elected?
So the historic district in general, and I want to add that includes all of South Ayden.
Right.
So downtown in South Ayden is super important.
It is.
It is. I think we need to have cohesive signage throughout, and there are grants for that. Landscaping, there's been a lot of issues with trees. I know that they are working on a grant. Well, one of our commissioners is working on a grant for trees, and it would be streetscapes downtown, to revitalize and beautify downtown Ayden, and extend that out into South Ayden. So those businesses that used to be there, or the possibility of businesses going down that way, it needs to happen. We need to see that kind of growth in Ayden.
If elected, what is your primary goal to accomplish during your term?
So one big thing, there's lots, but transparency is my big thing. So I want every citizen to feel like they're part of the conversation.
Right.
When it comes to all the decisions that affect them, I've noticed a lot of people don't feel like they are being heard. So better communication from town leadership, more opportunities for public input. I know a lot of people haven't been especially happy with the forums, and we've got to spend more time than one monthly meeting. It's just going to take it, it's going to take getting these citizens together in different formats, whether that is online, email, Google Forms, social media, putting it out there in plain text where everyone understands, not a 300-page sunshine list document that you want people to read through and then they possibly email you about. You've got to figure out here are the key changes, because it's really not 300 pages worth. If you look at the agenda, there's usually a handful of things you're talking about. One example recently is our budget. We recently had the budget update, and all of our water and sewer rates went up 3 to 4%. That's happened last year as well. Our budget rates went up 3 to 4%. So that's something that I don't think people notice until they get their bill. The stormwater was $4. It is now $5.
Oh my.
I just had someone ask me about that yesterday. They went, I paid $5 for stormwater. What is that about? And I tried to explain it to them. And I was like, $5? I didn't realize it went up. So I went and pulled the minutes and pulled down and looked at the budget and saw that it had changed. Not a significant change, but to me, even though if you don't feel that it's significant, it's significant. $1 is a significant amount to people that are on a fixed income. And I understand that. I've been there. So wanting to make sure that we are talking to our citizens. There's been
transparent.
Very transparent. I've had, from what I've seen, a lack of talking from our representatives, from our commissioners and our board, not showing up for us and talking to us. It's not that hard, and I know some of them say, oh, well, we can't say but so much. I'm not talking about staff issues. I'm not talking about HR stuff. I'm talking about the decisions that you make and the decisions you've been asked to make, because you get those ahead of time. You know what you're going to talk about at the meeting. So why aren't you going ahead of time and saying, this is what we're going to talk about, and post it? We have 25,000 people on our Ayden What's Happening. We only have 5,000 people in town. So it's pretty, evident that a majority of our town is probably on that Facebook page. So, the board members need to start communicating more in the way that the people show up to communicate with each other.
Right.
And that is where they're communicating. So, and on their, a lot of candidates have websites, their own websites. I have my own website. I plan to keep that running. It's something I have to pay for, and I can post things on that. I plan to do monthly videos after our meetings. I want to tell people, this is what we talked about, and this is why I voted the way I did, and let people know, because people don't understand.
In full transparency.
They don't know, because they'll go, oh, well, why did they vote this way? I don't understand, and they don't understand the background. And there's been times where I didn't agree with the way one of the board members voted, and then afterwards had a conversation and went, now I understand.
Right.
So if you just speak with people and listen to people, that's what they really want.
Okay, you spoke a bit about this earlier when I asked you to tell me about yourself. So really quickly, tell me about the community involvement you've had in the past 5 years.
Yeah, so I am president of the Ayden Community Garden Club. We do all the planters downtown. We do the community garden. I'm also, our community garden is a member of the chamber, as well as Coltrane, where I work. They are a member of the chamber, so I go to chamber meetings. I'm on the Christmastown committee. I run both parades for Christmastown and Collard Festival. I'm Collard Festival treasurer, and I'm on the Downtown Main Street committee on that board. I'm just a board member there. I can only do so much.
Right.
So that is the bulk of what I do. Yeah.
How do you think the city council should interact with staff?
There needs to be a mutual respect.
Yeah.
I think. And I think there needs to be open dialogue and more dialogue with them. I think that with my background in finance, I have a lot of management experience and corporate experience, and I don't know that anyone on the board has that kind of experience communicating with staff and understanding that we're not always going to be the expert. I know we rely on them to be experts, but we can also use our own skills to help them. It's not always about that they're doing something. They may not have the resources to do what we want them to do. The policy that the commissioners write or should be writing and editing and updating, they have to go by those. So if there's something wrong, we've got to look at that and go back to that and see where do we need to do updates on this and fix it where that we can work together and they can work for our citizens.
Awesome. Well, members of City Council are frequently criticized in a very public way. If you're subject to public criticism, Pamela, how would you respond?
So this goes back to listening. We're not always going to get it right. I'm going to listen. I'm going to explain. I'm all about facts, telling them facts. And I don't always like what people tell me. They're not always going to like what I have to, explain to them. But as long as we're dealing with honesty and transparency and respect, I feel like we can have a conversation.
Right.
Criticize me, but let's talk.
Pamela, if there's anything else you would like to express or convey directly to the citizens of Ayden, please take this time now to do so.
I just want to say that, Ayden has done so much for me, and I have such a love for Ayden and for its people, and I just want to be a voice for everyone, and I want to make sure that I want you to know that I will be someone that will be working for you and working for everyone, and I will take it seriously, and I hope that this is helpful with your vote, and please vote for me.
Pamela Lockamy, everyone, Ward 5 candidate for the Town of Ayden Board of Commissioners. Thanks for watching Meet the Candidate. I'm Bianca Newborn. Have a great day.